What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new to the channel too and want to hit the subscribe button, that would help me out immensely. It has been another long 50 days since I put out a video, and in those 50 days, you know, the spiel has just been super incredibly busy with my main job, detailing. And on that note of detailing, summer's around the corner. If you're local here in Tucson, Arizona and need your car detailed, protected from the summer/monsoon heat, I'm your guy. I will hook you up. Working on my brand Aim High Drive Low. And on that note, shameless plug, 2 months ago I received my shipment from the pre-orders. If you participated in the pre-orders, thank you so much. I got my shirts. I ordered 50, and within those 50 I have about 16 left, ranging from sizes large to extra large. So if you are interested in supporting the brand, supporting the channel, link in the description below to the merch of superb quality. The final rendition of these came out amazing, and just want to say again, thank you everybody who has supported the drop. It really means the world to me. I have been doing a horrible job keeping my promise, staying adamant with content for YouTube. As you all know, or most of you know, I am saving as much money as I possibly can because my R32 Nissan Skyline is currently at the shop. Last year my RV20 blew. The crankshaft grenaded and just messed up the head entirely. We're going to be rebuilding the head with all Tomy Japan internals. If the block is salvageable, we're going to just remachine it, put new OEM parts on it, put everything back together, retune it, and call it a day. I do not have an update or any ETA on when I'll be getting the car back, but I'm hoping the end of summer, early fall. Cross my fingers, we'll get the Skyline back, can push more content out, go to a couple shows out of state, a couple drift events, since I did build the Skyline to be a drift car, and then just enjoy it for what it is. So currently the Mark II is on halt in the terms of purchases, but as of this week, the USD is much higher than the yen rate. So the subtotal in my RT Japan cart has dropped like $300–400. So I'm thinking of just full sending the rest of the suspension parts for the Mark II, just bite the bullets and continue to make awesome videos for you guys. But in this video, we will be installing my new diff bushings from Serial9 and my solid subframe bushings from Serial9. I ordered the stuff back in November of 2022, and now I finally have a sort of free weekend to install them all. All right. So in terms of the rear subframe removal, I can do it in two ways. I can remove everything as one whole assembly, or I can disconnect the axle stubs and the suspension goodies that connect to the subframe and just take the subframe and differential out. I may need to run to Harbor Freight and pick up a table jack because all I have are these two low pro jacks, and I don't think that'll be sufficient enough or safe enough to grab onto the rear subframe. To be honest, this is my first time removing a rear subframe from any of my cars, but this will be the second time I'll be removing any form of subframe. I've watched a handful of DIYs, researched on the forums, and it does look pretty straightforward. We have all tools necessary. I'm not too sure what's the easier method or not, so we'll just play it by ear. So first, get the car jack stands, then remove the drive shaft, take out the exhaust, disconnect the e-brake cables, and we'll start poking around with the suspension arms. Mark II on jack stands. All right, Mark II on jack stands. Jacks is supported even more. Good push test. Upon inspecting my rear subframe, as you can tell, it's definitely showing its age. No cracks, I'm really happy about that. So upon removing the rear subframe, once we have everything out, definitely going to scuff and shoot everything, flat black. Inspecting all of my bushings. They're pretty shot. The diff bushings are the most noticeable, not even connected here on the right side. And this bushing here is just donezo. The other bushings on the differential, I cannot tell if they're good or not, but I'm assuming they're shot. But in no particular order, we're going to disassemble the e-brake cable, disconnect our drive shaft, and then remove the mid pipe back on the Tomy exhaust. remove the wheels and then start undoing all of the upper and lower control arms. First, I remove the e-brake cable. Pretty easy. There's two rubber grommets that connect to the chassis on the left and right side, as you see there. And to get this center nut out, it's a 14mm. I just went ahead and used a hand wrench and I freed it from said position. Bolts that connect the drive shaft to the differential are out. Both are going to be 14mm. Leverage, some force, and a pry bar to disassemble the drive shaft from the differential. Next on the list is to remove both calipers, left and right, and the bolt to the upper knuckle where the coil body sits, so we can drop the subframe independently from the rest of the suspension. Also, don't forget to remove the brackets that are holding the e-brake cable that run along the bottom of the car. All right, rear subframe from the Mark II is out. Honestly, wasn't that time consuming, nor was it really complex in getting it out. It's just super heavy, but I managed to do it with my brother with just a jack. But definitely tomorrow I'm going to pick up a table jack and reassemble the rear subframe on there, because this thing is heavy and I'm not trying to break my back or lose an arm and a leg. So now the objective is to remove the upper arm. I took pictures of all the control arms that connect to the subframe so I can keep my alignment. Remove the axle stubs from the diff. This should just hammer on out. Take out the bushings. This should be pretty self-explanatory, just a bolt, comes right out. Toyota made the upper portion or the front portion of the bushings so you don't have to burn them out. You just take a flathead and whack them out. I'll go ahead and degrease and deep clean the rear subframe tomorrow. Then we'll paint it, do like 3 or 4 coats of black, let it cure. Take a wire wheel and wire wheel, I'll clean inside where the bushings go, and start our reassembling of the rear subframe. Again, pretty self-explanatory, didn't take a whole lot of time, but I did forget to mention, don't forget to remove your ABS sensor located on the knuckle. It's just a 12mm nut and then followed by another 10mm nut. A lot of progress has been made this evening. Got the rear knuckle arm assembly out and axle stubs, pretty breezy. Again, got all of the bushings out of the subframe. Got the bolts out to the front of the differential. I just don't have this size T65, maybe T75 Allen style tool available, so I'll pick that up tomorrow. Get the diff out. Tomorrow we'll deep clean the subframe, scuff, shoot it, 3 or 4 coats of black like I mentioned. And I'm really tempted, guys, to just go ahead and buy the rear upper A-arms from Serial9. That way I pretty much have their whole rear suspension catalog, and again, these bushings are old and I'm pretty sure these ball joints are getting old as well. We are back and I made some significant progress on the rear subframe so far. Just got the differential out and the differential bushings. The bushings weren't too complex. I just used a long flathead and a sledgehammer and they came out effortlessly. In terms of the differential bolts, I can confirm with you that they are the hex bit socket. I use metric 12mm and they came out real good. In terms of painting the diff, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to clean it up real nice and slap it back on with the bushings. I do plan on swapping to an FRS diff in the near future. From research I've done, it's just a much better diff. And I need to go back to the store and get some differential fluid. In terms of the rear subframe, got it fully disassembled and wire wheeled. Got all the bushings out and wire wheeled all the inserts to the bushings. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and give it another wire wheel, degrease it, wash it, let it dry, and we will begin painting. And in terms of paint, I just found this at O'Reilly's roll bar and chassis. I mean, it holds up to 250 degrees, doesn't need primer, it's ready to go, so hopefully this will work. This is just a satin black. Just got done with the second layer of satin black. I know the camera really exaggerates how well of a job things look, but honestly, for a rattle can job, subframe came out really well. So I'm gonna let this cure for another 30 minutes, hit it with the third coat, and while this thing cures on the third coat, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the new Serial9 differential bushings. Alright, rear subframe is looking amazing if I do say so myself. The satin paint cleaned up very nice. The green accents are a nice touch. As you can tell, the majority of the bushings are in and tight. Not torqued down to spec yet. Still trying to figure out the torque specs for the differential bushings. But everything is good. The front upper bushings just slide in, and then the bottom bushings you have to tap in. I just use some white silicone, a microfiber, and a dead blow. These ones just slide on like so. And differential bushings kind of gave me a little bit of trouble. I recommend that you leave the front portion of the bushings about hand tight while you insert the bushings and then hit it with a dead blow. That way everything sits evenly. Also, make sure your differential is as horizontal as possible when installing and torquing down your differential bolts. So at this time, just gonna go ahead and reinstall the knuckle arm assembly. I got right, I got left. Wait for my brother to get home and we'll zip the subframe back up, put the calipers and brake lines and all that fun stuff back together, drive shaft, reinstall the Tomy exhaust, and then go for a test drive depending on how late it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I am finally finished with the Serial9 subframe and differential solid bushing installment. Just got done installing the Tomy exhaust and polishing up all the control arms. Triple checked every single nut and bolt that I touched, made sure everything was torqued down to spec. All I have to do now is add some differential fluid to the diff. But my God, that was definitely some work to do in your garage with just a floor jack and some jack stands. 2 8-hour days, but definitely achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally done with the Mark II. A job well done, if I do say so myself, or at least I hope so. I haven't gotten the chance to test drive the Mark II yet because it is late and I'm the youngest homeowner in the neighborhood and I want to be respectful. It's a little past 10 p.m. and the curfew for noise is obviously 10 p.m. But rear subframe reinstallment went very successful. I quadruple checked all the bolts that I touched, retorqued the bolts to the subframe and the differential. My toe was a little bit positive after I settled the car down, so did a quick eyeball alignment. Probably can't see on camera. So that's fixed. Filled the diff with differential fluid, made sure my exhaust was tight, and that's pretty much it, guys. I'm pretty hyped on how the Mark II is now going to ride with the new bushings. I know it's going to ride significantly smoother, but definitely significantly harsher. It's the next day, just got home from work, and the driving experience now in the Mark II is phenomenal. The rear end is super tight, super predictable. Steering is more direct, and honestly, there's such an astronomical difference. Of course, my bushings before were shot, but going from rubber to solid mounts is just a world of a difference. The only downside I would say is how noisy my differential is now, since the rubber absorbs all the vibration and sound. Of course, with the solid mounts, it's just firm and you get all the mechanical F1 car noises now, which isn't too bad. I think I'm gonna dynomat the back seats so I don't have to hear it as loud in case the girl and I are going out or trying to have a conversation. But other than that, I would say definitely a job well done. I am going to swap out the diff fluid because from what I saw last night, it is incredibly dirty and I need everything working, lasting as long as possible. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions regarding the install, shoot me a message in the comments below or through my DMs on Instagram. But thank you guys so much for the continuous love and support. And if you're new to the channel too and want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. And remember, aim high, drive low. We'll catch you next video. Take care.